Car dealerships are playing a massive game of chicken with car manufacturers, and your guess is as good as mine on who is going to come out on top. As we all know by now, the new car industry has seen unprecedented bottlenecking issues throughout really the last year and a half to 2 years' time. Caused by issues like the pandemic, chip shortages, and more, new cars are simply not able to be produced at the same rate in which they once were. In fact, vehicle production has absolutely tanked since the pandemic started, and even now, sitting 2 years removed from the start of COVID-19, production isn't anywhere near to where it once was. Dealer lots are empty, new cars are extremely hard to come by, and the ones that are available have long wait lists or they have huge dealer markups. For example, this Toyota RAV4, which has a $50,000 dealer markup and is being sold for over $94,000. This was back last year in the summer of 2021. Like, I get it, I'm a big RAV4 fan, but not for $94,000. But the thing is, this isn't a Toyota problem, this isn't even exclusively a new car problem, but where this is a major problem is with hot new cars that are highly anticipated by consumers. You see, these hotly anticipated new cars are being slapped with massive market adjustments, and as a result, the only way you can get your hands on one of these new vehicles is if you're willing to pay an above MSRP price. And this has been proved with many of the new car releases that we've seen over the course of 2020, 2021, and going on into 2022. The C8 Corvette, the Mustang GT500, and the Ford Bronco are all new cars that were released throughout the pandemic, and they were incredibly difficult to get your hands on. This has of course left customers with a bad taste in their mouth, and in some cases is making these vehicles unattainable. This was certainly the case with the Ford Bronco this past summer. But the thing is, about 6 months ago, car manufacturers thought that they had come up with a solution to this problem, the problem of dealers marking up cars way above MSRP. You see, earlier this year in January of 2022, both Ford and GM sent out letters to their dealership. Ford sent out this letter to their dealership in regards to the new F-150 Lightning EV pickup truck that is being released as we speak. And in this letter it read, "It has come to our attention that a limited number of dealerships are interacting with customers in a manner that is negatively impacting customer satisfaction and damaging to the Ford Motor Company brand and dealer body reputation. Examples of these negative interactions include demanding that customers who are already on the reservation list for the model year 2022 F-150 Lightning make additional deposits or payments. These actions are perceived as threatening customers by withholding their opportunity to convert reservations to orders. This behavior is not allowed under paragraph 6 of the Sales and Service Agreement. The dealer shall avoid in every way any bait, deceptive, misleading, confusing, or illegal advertising or business practices. If it is determined that your dealership is engaging in such practices, Ford Motor Company reserves the right to redirect the dealer's allocations of the F-150 Lightning for the entirety of the 2022 model year." And then this letter goes on to say that though Ford Motor Company does not support insane dealer markups after people have already bought in their F-150 Lightnings, they do support a no-sale provision, and it explains that in the letter as well. And GM released a very similar letter as well, this one in relation to the Cadillac Lyriq, the EV Hummer, as well as the Z06 Corvette that's being released very soon. The GM letter goes as follows: "Dear GM dealership team, we are all very excited about recent GM news and product launches, including the Chevrolet Corvette Z06, the Chevrolet Silverado EV, GMC Hummer EVs, GMC Sierra EV, and the Cadillac Lyriq. At the same time, we have both been working hard to meet customer demand in a time of constrained supply of inventory due to the global industry-wide semiconductor shortage. Unfortunately, it has come to our attention that in connection with some of these announcements and launches, a small number of dealers have engaged in practices that do not support a positive sale experience for our customers. This puts our collective interest at risk and generates negative press that reflects poorly on GM's brand in your dealerships. Specifically, it has come to our attention that some dealerships have attempted to demand money above the beyond reservation amounts set in GM's program rules and/or have requested customers to pay sums far in excess of MSRP in order to purchase or lease a vehicle. First, I want to remind you that GM dealers are obligated to ethically and lawfully sell GM products as stated in Article 5 of the Dealer Sales and Service Agreement. GM will be forced to take action if it learns of any unethical sales practices or brokering activities that undermine the integrity that customers expect from the Chevrolet, Buick, GMC, and Cadillac brands. For the small minority of bad actors that are engaging in the conduct identified above, this letter serves as notice that GM reserves the right to redirect your vehicle allocation or take other recourse prescribed by the Dealer Sales and Service Agreement." Now, I remember whenever news broke that these letters were getting sent out. This was back in January, and at the time, I made a video talking about this. And whenever this happened, I initially thought that this would stop dealers in their tracks. I felt like this would put an end to the insane dealer markups that we were seeing. But it doesn't seem to be the case, because recently, as these vehicles are beginning to be released, they are doing exactly what GM and Ford warned against. According to a post that I found on Reddit, a Reddit poster was inquiring with a local GM dealership to see what number he had for a Z06 order. The Chevy dealership responds, telling the customer that he doesn't have any Z06 order currently in progress, and that if he wants to order one, this dealership has 2 allocations. He then goes on to describe what the pricing structure would be, at which point he says, "We have 2 spots left for the Z06 orders, I believe. We require a $5,000 initial deposit to hold the spot, then $20,000 additional at the time of the order, and an additional $75,000 at delivery plus MSRP. And before we accept your deposit, you will need to DocuSign a form stating you agree to pay $100,000 above MSRP. $100,000 over MSRP. That is just absolutely mind-blowing. And I wonder how many people actually purchase cars under this agreement. But Chevy isn't the only one doing this exact same tactic. In a different post that I found online, it was showing Ford F-150 Lightnings that are currently being sold as new, and these cars were seeing very similar markups. You can see here there's a 2022 F-150 Lightning Truck Super Crew that's being sold for $145,000. Another one right below it being sold for $130,000. And this is taking into account that these trucks typically are priced at around $80,000 to $90,000 depending on the trim level of this car. This specific model that I just showed is $91,000, which means it has about a 50% markup if you're wanting to buy it now. And to take a different turn, GMC is taking a different tactic that is a little bit more creative, but still just as weird and just as predatory. Some dealerships that are selling Hummer EVs are requiring customers to sign a first right of refusal notice before they will allow for them to buy the Hummer. And this first right of refusal basically says that if you, a Hummer EV buyer, if you decide within 24 months of the purchase of that vehicle that you want to sell that car and you have somebody who's willing to buy it, you have to go to the dealership that you bought the Hummer EV from originally. You have to show them the offer that you've received from a third party, and then that dealership has the ability to instead buy that car for MSRP pricing. Now, this may not be that big of a deal to certain buyers, but I personally feel like it's a bit of an overstep. And if I'm spending the money to buy something as expensive as a Hummer EV, then I want to have the control to know that I could sell that car however way I wanted to. And the fact that Hummer's wanting to step in and prevent people from doing that, it definitely leaves a little bit of a bad taste in my mouth. Now, these are just 3 different circumstances of some of the abuses of powers that dealerships are exercising right now during these unprecedented times. And to be honest, I think that it's absolutely mind-blowing to see what's going on. And I think it's even more mind-blowing to see that people are still buying these cars under these circumstances. But then this of course begs the question of why are dealers doing this, and how is it that car manufacturers sent out a letter warning them against this exact same thing just a few months ago, and here they are in present day doing exactly what they've been warned not to do, and yet they don't seem to be suffering from any recourse. And like I mentioned at the beginning of this video, I personally believe that it's a big, massive game of chicken. Now, you guys know the game of chicken. It's the idea that 2 different parties go head to head, and whoever backs off first is the one that loses. And this is exactly what dealerships are doing to car manufacturers. They are going head to head with the manufacturer, and dealerships are banking on the fact that car manufacturers will back off. And it seems as though as of right now, dealerships are right. Because as of right now, I have not been able to find a single instance where car manufacturers actually went and punished these dealerships for taking part in these shady practices. Even as the news of the 100K markup on the Z06, there are simply crickets from the side of the manufacturer. But I don't believe this will be for very long. You see, in a video I made a couple of weeks ago, I talked about how dealerships are dying and car manufacturers are going to begin stepping away from traditional dealership models in favor of a direct-to-consumer model, similar to what Tesla does. Times are changing and the way in which we buy cars are changing with them, and more car manufacturers are leaning into the idea of being able to circumvent dealerships as a whole and sell cars direct. So though car manufacturers need dealerships today, and thus giving dealerships an insane amount of power when it comes to dealer markups, this isn't going to be the case forever. And as car manufacturers lean into the direct-to-consumer model, dealerships will begin to lose more and more power. And as a result, they'll have to listen to the car manufacturer way more than they do today. In fact, recently Volvo announced this exact same thing. Volvo announced a couple of months ago that their entire EV lineup is going to be sold direct-to-consumer, meaning dealerships won't even have the opportunity to sell any of these cars at all. And I personally believe that the decision to overprice these vehicles and to do exactly what they were warned against doing, I think that it's very short-sighted on the dealership's end, because though car manufacturers need dealerships today, I don't think that they will need them forever. And I think that it's a really bad decision to burn bridges with a resource that you need right whenever they're becoming obsolete. And in this case, these shady practices on the part of the dealership may be an even more incentive on the car manufacturer's end to just go direct to consumer as a whole. Now, as far as what car manufacturers are going to do to these dealerships that are doing exactly what they shouldn't be doing, well, your guess is as good as mine. But I think we can all agree that these dealer markups are bad for business, they're leaving a bad taste in customers' mouths, and it just isn't a good look altogether. So though I don't think car manufacturers are going to be doing anything drastic today, I also don't think that these things are going unnoticed, and I wouldn't be surprised if these manufacturers do something in the future. But like always, you guys, I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, comments, if you have anything to add, I would love to hear it. So make sure to leave a comment down below. And while you guys are at it, make sure to hit the like button, hit that subscribe button, and hit the notification bell. And I will see you guys in the next video.